안녕하세요 여러분. 저는 네덜란드에서 온 바트라고 합니다.
What do you do in Korea?
So I'm a full-time YouTuber and I make videos, documentary-style videos about North Korea, Korean War veterans, and I travel to unique places, I like to say.
It's more like the dark side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any reason why you make these kind of videos?
I guess it's because of my personal interest. There is just something so much more interesting about the dark history. It's just more fascinating to me. It's always like this unbelievable event that has happened and that is in the memory of everyone, but it's kind of difficult to talk about it. So many creators, they don't really cover that subject. And I saw an opportunity, at least in Korea, to make more videos about that.
I know that you didn't actually come for these, right?
No.
What was the start?
So when I started a YouTube channel, I wanted to make this really big company about the environment, and the channel name was Sexy Green. So green was the environment, the sexy green was the soju bottles that also green. Quite a long story. Anyway, so automatically we were a Koekje couple channel, and there was something very dissatisfying about being a Koekje couple channel. So I told Fia, okay, I want to take a bit more risk on my channel and go to North Korea and make a video there. So I went to North Korea, came back, made this whole series, and that's how I started this new direction.
We know each other since that trip, I think.
Yeah.
And I saw you've changed a lot.
Have I? I gained some weight though. I don't think the trip itself changed me. The trip triggered my interest, and after that I followed my interest more than I did before. So I pushed myself to learn more about North Korea, to visit the places South Korea that are related to North Korea. Eventually it is the life in South Korea that has made me who I am today. Dealing with the South Koreans, especially on a daily basis, because I'm a YouTuber. I put myself out there in the public, in the open, and I had to deal with that for the 3 years, and now I find my way.
What's your way?
What's my way? Well, first I was making videos that were somehow censored. Okay, I don't want to make something that criticizes Korea too much, making everyone happy, and then maybe that's the only way to get a lot of people to watch my videos. But that burned me out at some point because I was thinking way too much about what other people think about me, even though I have a really strong opinion myself. And yes, there's a lot of love about Korea, but definitely also a few things that I don't like. If I traveled and I experience also things that I don't like, I want to express that. Actually, there's so many that any foreigner who goes to Korea, they probably don't know what life is like here, because it's all only the good things, and every food is delicious and every side is beautiful, and I'm like sometimes looking out my window and think, wow, it's a little bit yellow outside, right? Like Mr. Munji, and then that's also reality, but there's not anyone just really expressing that.
Can you choose what was your favorite video you made?
My favorite video is the one that I made with the Dutch Korean War veterans, by far, because I felt like I did something good for society and also for myself. My dream somehow when I started this channel was to kind of make a bridge between the Netherlands and Korea, and the Dutch veterans were the perfect bridge. I also realized there's a need for South Koreans to express their appreciation to the veterans, the foreign veterans, but there were not many platforms where they could do that. So my videos gave them opportunity to write a deathkill or comment, and then the veterans, they felt appreciated by that because they weren't appreciated by the Dutch people as much as the Koreans would like to appreciate them. They've been living a life with PTSS and trauma, and nobody really understood what they've been through here in South Korea during the Korean War. And before it's too late, right? They're almost dead. They're all like 90 years old. Or the first one I made was together with Huya. We visited the veteran, we talked about his experience, why he did go to Korea and what he has experienced in Korea. And then we surprised him with Korean food, because in Korea during the Korean War, they only had those American rations from the military, right? So they never tried Korean food. So someone who has such a strong connection with Korea but has never tried Korean food, that should not exist, right? So Huya made bulgogi, and the moment we gave that to him, you saw his smile, he was so happy. Later with another veteran, so he saw the food and he knew what it was. He said, oh, bulgogi. He remembered some Korean words as well, like pali pali.
Pali pali even back then?
Yeah, even back then, during the war. Spreekt u een beetje Koreaans?
Nou, nee. Ik ken alleen Kamsahamnida en Pali Pali. Ja, dat leer je gauw. Pali Pali.
But my favorite video was when I collected all the gifts and letters from the South Korean subscribers, and I brought them to the Netherlands and I gave them to the veterans. That was a really emotional moment. Even one veteran, he cried. Someone made a wooden sculpture in a frame and he opened it up. And he said, like, oh my God, and then with a really crying voice, I just immediately hit him. So I realized, okay, this is important, we should do this.
Is he the one who passed away?
No, that's the very first video. And he passed away a few months after the interview. So crazy that you talk to somebody like about his whole life experience and then a few months later he passes away. That also hurt a lot when I heard the news. We met his son later again, because there was a Korean student who suddenly sent me like a lot of gifts that she wanted to give to Jan, but I had to tell her, yeah, sorry, but he passed away. So okay, but I will still give it to you and maybe one day you can give it to the son. And I did, 1 year later.
What inspired you to make this kind of video?
Most energy I get from letting people think about something they wouldn't otherwise think about. For example, during my bicycle trip around Korea, it's 2,000 kilometers on a bike, I suddenly saw myself in a small town in the middle of nowhere. But it was such a typical Korean town, in my opinion. It has like the only harabochis and harmonies were working there. It had everything that I think is like this typical Korean town. But no one else would ever think about that unless you see it and you have somebody who shows you what it is and explains about it. That gives me energy that people can see something that they would usually don't.
So what's the purpose of your videos?
Well, that's a really deep question.
Yeah.
I ask myself this question too, sometimes. I want people to be open-minded in general, although I'm not sure if that's super obvious if you watch my videos. I see too many people that are so close-minded and we like to point fingers at each other, like, oh, you don't know that, or you don't know what this is, or that. But yeah, not everyone knows what you know. So on my channel, I just want to create a safe place for people who want to learn something more before judging it. I'm just trying to tell the story, try to show that there's more than just this answer. In Korea, I sometimes feel it's very black or white. If you meet Koreans face to face, you don't really get to know their political affiliation or how they feel about certain historic events or these days, like the mask and the new policies. But online, they like to express that. But my videos are always borderline controversial, because that's just what happens when you talk about dark history of anything, right? But then you realize, oh shit, it's either this or that, but there's nothing in between. I wish they were more transparent, honest, be a little bit open towards other thinking people.
You accept others' opinions.
Yeah. Well, if you enjoy this story and if you're interested in the same things that I'm interested in, feel free to visit my channel. And there are a lot of videos already, so a lot of time to play around. See you there.